Hello Internet, and welcome to my review for Fairy Tail episode 299. When we last left off, Loxus beat Wall through a bit of strategy and some bullshit, I'm gonna be honest. And then we started the Ark's greatest fight with Wendy and Lesya versus Dimaria, including the return of Ultir, thanks to some timey-wimey shenanigans, and the promise of the third origin, the power of all of your future power in one single moment. That's where we open with this week's episode. Before that, though, just a reminder, I have my 2019 Spring Anime Review straw poll in the description down below, so go down, fill that out, let me know what you want to see come April. Anyway, jumping right on into the review itself. So the episode opens with Wendy and Lesya have this short little argument over who has to use Third Origin, because whoever uses it won't be able to fight again after the fight. And I love this argument. You know, it's an instant reminder both of how much these two care about each other and, like, how strong emotionally they both are. They're both, like, willing to sacrifice for each other. Just Wendy and Lesya this season have been killing it. Their relationship has been consistently a high point since we got back in October. Also, before we go any further, can we take a moment to just think about how far Wendy has come? Like, remember way, way back when, like, Wendy was that scared little Kate Shelter member who, like, never stood up for herself. And now she's, like, fighting back against Lesya to, like, sacrifice herself for Lesya. Just the character development on this show, I mentioned this with Loxus in the past few weeks, is just so good. The character, like, I remember people, like, criticizing Fairy Tail for a lack of character development, and, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Sure, Natsu doesn't get a whole lot, that's a fair complaint, but, like, everyone else has developed so much from where they were at the start of the series. Like, Wendy here, the Wendy of the Horacio and Sace arc never could have done this. Never could have even, like, offered to use Third Origin. She was just, like, too scared to do anything. And now look at her. But anyway, so Ultir seems to give Wendy Third Origin. In reality, Wendy just uses Dragon Force, expecting the Third Origin. And I love all the little hints that Wendy did not actually get the Third Origin. You know, the transformation is way too fast. Like, it's a snap of her fingers and all of a sudden she's in the Third Origin state. And we see how weak she is compared to Dimaria. Like, initially that gives us just, like, the sense of fear of how, you know, of just how incredible Dimaria's power is. But in retrospect, that's this great foreshadowing of, like, Wendy does not have the power. What little strength she gets is, like, placebo effect of thinking she has Third Origin, and so is, like, willing to do more extreme things. But in reality, she's just, like, just herself. Still with her second Origin state, but, like, you know. Anyway, everything about Lesya versus Dimaria is fantastic. You know, it might not be long, but the bonds between Wendy and Lesya that we've seen build up over years. In the anime, they were first introduced, their friendship was first introduced in, like, 2012. You know, that was 7 years ago. Like, it's embodied in, like, that pivotal moment of Wendy using her enchantment magic on Lesya to get even more power out of Third Origin. All of that just makes this scene incredible. You know, also, Dimaria is just increasing fear / like, desperation as Lesya not only withstands her attacks, but, like, starts to turn the tide against her, is incredible. Best Alvarez fight, bar none. Bar none. This is the best in the whole fucking arc. And then Lesya wins. Lesya defeats Dimaria with the power of Third Origin, loses her magic. Wendy, like, as she's passing out, like, go save Charla. And Wendy does, and Charla lives. And it's just a great fight. It's a phenomenal fight. And then we have Old Lady Ultir, and, like, my heart, I love Old Lady Ultir. Just that moment of, like, Ultir looking up into the sky and, like, if only I had a childhood like them. Damn. Just damn. Ugh. And if the episode had stopped then, it would have been a phenomenal best in the series episode. But there's no rest for the weary, because now we go straight to our next of the 12, Jacob Lesya, who, as we learn, is my least favorite member of the 12, probably. Maybe, I can't think of anyone I actively dislike more than Jacob. He's just kind of pathetic. Though that being said, up until a point, he is ridiculously effective. His intro is great. You know, he just, like, casually walks into the guild, has a conversation, asks for a beer, And when they tell him no, he like just claps his hands and everyone vanishes except Mavis. Also, he like attacks Mavis, who is a ghost. He just sees her and like starts magicking her ass. Which is another great thing. But luckily, before he can do too much damage, Lucy and Happy are there to protect Mavis after they themselves were protected by Horologium. And we start to have an actual full hay fever Liz Lucy fight. But Natsu comes through to save Lucy from Jacob just like throwing a knife at her, which robs us of what would have been our first real, honest-to-God Lucy fight since Allegria. Like, it's been so long since Lucy just got to show off in a full-on, like, focus fight that did not get interrupted by hay fever or was, like, the focus of the episode. It's been so long. And I really wish we had gotten that. That's my first gripe against this episode. We'll see my other one later on, real soon. Though, admittedly, I will say, Lucy does do a little bit throughout the fight. She summons Loki to find Jacob once he's invisibilizing himself. She also does get a hit in on Jacob at the end of the episode, but still, we were this close to getting a full-on Lucy fight, and we were robbed. Anyway. Then we have to get to why I hate this fight. So not only does the fight end up as a lame, like, fan service to win concept, a la the Tamaki vs. Assault fight in Fire Force, it only does so because Jacob summons the fan service himself. He uses his magic to make Lucy's clothes invisible, and because he figures that because he would be too modest to look, anyone else would. And, like, it's just pathetic. It's just pathetic. Like, not only is it just, like, a lame fight strategy. I mean, sure, Natsu and Lucy use, like, strategy to work out how to distract Jacob enough to get a hit in, but it's still just, ugh. It also just completely strips away the threat of the Spriggan 12. Like, how can we take these guys seriously, even with all that we've seen them do, if this is a member of the Spriggan 12? I mean, sure, he's the lamest one, by far, but, like, damn. I am not a fan of Jacob Lesya. But you know what? At least it's nice to see Lucy and Natsu working together again. They have not done that in a good long while. So it's nice to see them fighting together. Oh, yes, somehow this whole fiasco gives Mavis an idea to beat Zareth? I don't even know. That's where the episode ends. So my thoughts on the episode as a whole. Well, I think that Fairy Tail is in a bit of a weird spot, adaptationally, as it's going through a bit of what I call the March comes in like a lion problem, which is a very clunky title for a very clunkily titled series. But see, like, the adaptation of March had this weird issue where they were adapting the manga so faithfully. In Season 1, at least, I never really got very far in Season 2. I'm reading the manga right now, though, it's great. Anyway, that's a full tangent. So they're adapting the manga so faithfully, they would often run into the problem of taking a story that should have really been covered in one episode, and dividing it into the back half of one episode and the front half of the next, with the back half of the next episode being a completely unrelated story that would do the same song and dance. And this kind of led each episode to feel, like, really disjointed, and they'd be much better if each story was, like, one single episode, and they had some fun with the adaptation style. And, like, while the Wall and Dimaria fights of last week, and the Dimaria and Jacob fights of this week, and presumably the Jacob and Spoilers fight from next week, aren't anywhere near as unrelated as the March stories, they still feel like they may have been better suited to standalone episodes, especially when the quality between the fights are as starkly contrasting as Jacob and Dimaria, though it may rob us of some good cliffhangers. Anyway, long digression aside, besides the part I already criticized about the invisible clothes incidents, this is a pretty good episode, honestly. The Jacob fight cannot hold a candle to the archives of the fight with Dimaria, but it's perfectly serviceable, even if Lucy does deserve a fight with a Spriggan that does not end with hay fever. Next time, the Jacob fight gets better, I guess, and the Queen of the Walls shows up. So I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the episode and the video. If you did, feel free to drop me a like, or subscribe, or fill out that straw poll down below, or, you know, do whatever the fuck you want. I don't really care. And as always, people, keep kicking ass, and I'll see you in the future. Bye!